At 55, I stood on a stage bathed in applause, the company's golden plaque gleaming in my hands. Executive of the Year. Cameras flashed, champagne flowed, I smiled on cue. But as I stepped down to find my family, only my daughter remained, arms crossed, eyes blank. She looked at me the way you'd look at a stranger at a bus stop. Then she said it, quiet but sharp enough to split bone. "You only show up for photos." That moment didn't just hurt. It detonated something inside me. For 30 years, I built an empire. I broke sales records, negotiated 8-figure deals, led teams across continents. I told myself I was doing it for them, my wife, Emma, and our daughter, Lily. But somewhere along the climb, I started missing birthdays, violin recitals, school plays. Emma stopped texting reminders. Lily stopped expecting me at all. I knew the cost. I just never expected the bill to come due like that. What happened after her words shattered me wasn't a miracle. It was raw, humiliating, and brutally slow. I lost everything I thought made me a man. My title, my certainty, my carefully curated image. But in losing all that, I began something I never really tried before. Becoming a father worth remembering. If you've ever told yourself, "I'll make it up to them later," or "they'll understand someday," this story is for you. Because someday comes, and sometimes they don't understand. Sometimes they walk away. My name is John Walker. I'm 55 years old, and for most of my life, I believed purpose came wrapped in a paycheck and printed on a business card. I was born in a trailer park just outside Dayton, Ohio. My mother died of a heart condition when I was 8. My father, well, present isn't the word I'd use. He existed, drank, slept, left. I grew up on canned soup, state-issued lunch tickets, and a determination so sharp it hurt. I promised myself I'd never let my future family know hunger, worry, or cold nights on a broken furnace. I wouldn't just escape poverty. I'd obliterate it. At Ohio State, I studied marketing by day and cleaned offices by night. It was there, somewhere between late-night vending machine dinners and econ lectures, that I met Emma. She was fire and calm at once, smart, grounded, with a laugh that made you believe in second chances. We got married a month after graduation. By 27, we were living in a modest 2-bedroom outside Columbus. By 30, we had Lily. When she was born, I held her like she was made of glass. I remember whispering in her tiny ear, "You'll never have to fight like I did." That same year, I got hired by Bearing Pharmaceuticals, a rising biotech firm. They said they needed hungry people. I was famished. Within 3 years, I went from junior analyst to national accounts lead. 5 years in, I was promoted to associate director of marketing. A decade later, I was one of the youngest VPs in the company's history. We moved into a bigger house, bought a second car, enrolled Lily in private school. I flew to Europe twice a quarter, managed multi-million-dollar campaigns. My photo hung in the company's Hall of Excellence. I had, by all metrics, made it, and I was sure, absolutely sure, that my success was their success. Every late night, every red-eye flight, every birthday I missed, every piano recital skipped, I told myself it was for them. I believed that so deeply, I didn't notice how quiet things were getting at home. Emma stopped sending me videos of Lily's performances. The birthday party invitations became after-the-fact recaps. "It's okay," I'd say, smiling through exhaustion. "We'll go on a big vacation this summer." We did. Once. Then the meetings piled up again. I started missing weekends, then weeks. Emma took Lily to the doctor, to school meetings, to dance class, all without mentioning them to me. I began to feel less like a husband and more like a funder. Still, I brushed it off. They understand, I'd tell myself. Kids are resilient. Emma's strong. One more year, and we'll be able to finally slow down. One more year turned into 5. One night, after a long business dinner, I came home to find Lily asleep on the couch. Her math homework sat unfinished on the coffee table. Emma was folding laundry in silence. "She waited for you," Emma said without looking up. "She wanted help with her fractions." I sighed, loosened my tie. The merger presentation went over. I texted, "She's 10, John. She doesn't care about your merger." That stung, but I chalked it up to stress, deadlines, fatigue. The next morning, Emma handed me a plate of eggs and said softly, "One day, you're going to look up and realize you've built everything except the one thing that mattered." I half laughed, kissed her forehead and said, "Come on, I'm doing this for us." She didn't smile back. I should have heard that as a warning. Instead, I wore it like armor, convinced myself that time would smooth things over, that success now meant stability later, that a house with 5 bedrooms and central AC could replace bedtime stories and dinner table conversations. Lily began drawing more. At first I thought it was cute, her doodles taped all over the fridge. Until one day I saw a crayon sketch of our family, Emma, Lily, and their dog. I wasn't in it. Instead, in the corner, there was a stick figure holding a phone with a frown face. I asked her about it. "That's you," she said, not looking up from her cereal. "You're always working." I laughed it off, made some joke about being famous. Emma didn't laugh. Still, I pressed on. Work was exploding. The company was going public. I was being considered for chief marketing officer. The stakes were higher, the meetings longer, the expectations heavier. And always, I reminded myself, they'll thank me someday. They'll look back and understand that Dad sacrificed for the dream. They'll see that I gave them everything. I just didn't realize I was giving them everything except myself. I used to think silence was peaceful. In our home, it became something else entirely, dense, humming, and full of unsaid things. Emma stopped asking me what time I'd be home. She stopped asking if I'd be home at all. Dinner was served at 6:30 with or without me, the table set for 2. Occasionally 3 if Lily felt like eating upstairs. She no longer fought. That was the worst part. At least anger meant engagement. But Emma, she retreated, became efficient, controlled, polite in the way you are to a coworker you no longer trust. She managed the household like a single mother. Doctor appointments, school conferences, weekend soccer, everything. I offered help once. She handed me a grocery list and a dry smile, as if checking whether I could still be relied on to pick apples instead of deliverables. Lily, now 11, had grown quieter, not distant in a loud way. No slammed doors or teenage rebellion. Just absent. The kind of absence that filled a room even when she was physically there. She started spending time with Coach Dan, the guy next door, a widowed dad who taught her softball. He knew her favorite ice cream, showed up to every game, helped her fix her bike chain. I found out she called him my other dad in a classroom essay. Emma didn't tell me. The teacher did, at a school function I almost didn't attend. I read the essay in the hallway while waiting for the parent-teacher conference. The line was simple. "Coach Dan is like a second dad to me. He's always there when I need someone." I folded the paper carefully, tucked it into my coat pocket like a bruise. Then came her 12th birthday. I'd planned to surprise her with a tablet. I got stuck in a quarterly review meeting. My phone buzzed. Emma's texts, a photo of the cake, Lily's smile with a party hat, her friends surrounding her. I texted back, "Tell her I'll make it up this weekend." That weekend, she didn't ask where I was. A month later, Emma and Lily were watching old videos on the couch. I leaned in. "Hey, which one is that?" Emma paused. "Her 10th birthday, the one with the scavenger hunt in the backyard." "Oh," I said, not remembering. "I don't think I ever saw that one." Lily looked at me, not angry, just matter of fact. "You didn't. I made a video for you. But you had a board meeting. Mom said we'd show you later." Emma glanced at Lily, then at me. "We never did," Lily said. "So I deleted it." She turned back to the screen like it was no big deal. But it was. It was everything. It hit me then. They had a world without me. A parallel timeline. One where I was a placeholder on the calendar, a figure to explain away when others asked, "Where's your dad?" One evening, I came home earlier than usual. Emma and Lily were laughing in the kitchen, their heads bent over a half-burned batch of cookies. I stood in the hallway, briefcase still in hand, watching them like a guest peering into someone else's life. Lily looked up. "Oh," she said, not excited, just surprised. "Hi." "Hi," I replied awkwardly. "Smells good in here." Emma smiled faintly. "Burnt chocolate chip. My fault." I stepped in, set down my case. "Need a taste tester?" Lily handed me one without meeting my eyes. It crumbled in my hand. I laughed, tried to joke. The silence that followed wasn't hostile. It was practiced. They didn't know how to include me. I didn't know how to belong. At dinner that night, they talked about school, about the new book club Emma had joined. "We're reading Steinbeck," she said. "Remember of Mice and Men?" "Sure," I said, stabbing at the roast chicken. "I read that in high school." Emma smiled at Lily. "Jack, he's in the group. Remember Jack from college?" Lily nodded. I froze for half a second. Jack. The name echoed like a dropped plate. After Lily went upstairs, I asked, careful not to sound accusatory, "Jack from freshman English?" Emma wiped the counter. "Yes. He moved back recently. Teaches literature at the community college." "You guys are in the same group?" She looked up. "John, it's a book club." I nodded, tried to hide the knot forming in my chest. It wasn't jealousy. It was clarity. She had spaces I wasn't part of anymore. Maybe never had been. That night I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. I thought about Coach Dan, about Jack, about Lily's deleted video, about the meals, the books, the inside jokes they shared without me. I wasn't being pushed out. I had vacated, and someone else or something else was slowly moving in. The day of Lily's high school graduation was hot, cloudless, and humming with possibility. I left the office early for once, bought a bouquet of lilies, her namesake, and wore the navy suit Emma always said made me look 10 years younger. The traffic was worse than I expected. The parking lot was full. I jogged across the school lawn, sweating under my blazer, clutching the flowers like an apology I hadn't rehearsed. The ceremony was already underway when I slipped into the last row. I spotted Emma and Lily in the third. Emma's posture was straight. Lily's hair was curled. She looked older, sharper somehow. I waved. She didn't see. I watched the speeches, the slow procession of caps and gowns, the proud cheers. When Lily's name was called, Emma clapped gently. I stood, clapped harder. Lily didn't look at me. Afterward, in the sea of families taking photos, I found them near the school garden. Lily was with Coach Dan. He handed her a gift bag. She hugged him, then turned to Emma, smiled. They posed for a photo, just the two of them. I approached, still holding the flowers. "Hey, graduate," she turned. Her smile dropped. "Nice suit," she said flatly. "Thanks. You look beautiful," I replied. Emma stepped aside. "Let's get one with all of us," she said, tone neutral. A stranger offered to take it. We lined up, me on one end, Lily in the middle. The camera clicked. I stepped back, about to ask for one of just Lily and me. That's when she turned and said, loud enough for me and maybe only me, "You only show up for photos." It didn't come with drama. No tears, just truth. The silence that followed made the leaves rustle louder. I blinked. "What?" She shrugged, turned back to the flowers Coach Dan had given her. "You can go now. There's a work thing, right?" Emma didn't speak. Her face held no surprise. I left the bouquet on the bench. That night, back home, Emma handed me an envelope. I sat on the edge of our bed, opened it, skimmed the contents. Legal words, terms, custody notations, though Lily was nearly 18, property division. I looked up. "You're serious?" Emma nodded. "I'm not angry. I haven't been, not for a while. I'm tired, John." "We can work on this," I said, the words automatic. Her voice was soft. "We stopped working on this years ago." "You're giving up?" "No," she said. "I already gave everything I had. You just didn't notice." I stared at the carpet, the same gray pattern we'd picked out 10 years ago after remodeling the bedroom. It looked unfamiliar. "You're seeing someone?" I asked, not sure I wanted the answer. Emma shook her head. "No, but I'm not waiting anymore either." I didn't sleep that night. I lay awake, listening to the clock tick, the hum of the refrigerator, the occasional creak of the house settling. I wondered if Lily was in her room, still wearing her graduation cap, if she was deleting pictures, if she had already deleted me. The next day, I found the graduation program on the kitchen counter. I flipped through it until I saw the senior acknowledgments. Each student had written a note of thanks. Lily's message read, "To my mom for always showing up, to Coach Dan for being steady and kind, and to everyone who believed in me." I wasn't in it. Not even a mention. Not even a vague thank you to my parents. I sat down on the kitchen stool, the paper shaking in my hands. It wasn't just that she was angry. It was that she had already moved on. She had built a version of the world where I wasn't needed, where I hadn't even been part of the foundation. Later that afternoon, she came downstairs for a snack. I stood awkwardly near the sink. "Hey," I said. "Hey," she replied, pulling yogurt from the fridge. "I read your note in the program," I said carefully. She nodded, unfazed. "Lily, do you really think I didn't believe in you?" She paused. "I think you were busy believing in other things." Her tone wasn't cruel. It wasn't even cold. It was resigned. "I never stopped loving you," I said. She looked at me, spoon in hand. "I know. But love that never shows up stops feeling like love after a while." Then she walked back upstairs. I stood there, the echo of her words heavier than any silence. I wandered the house for hours after that. Touched the picture frames on the mantel. Emma and Lily at the zoo. Emma and Lily at Niagara Falls. A baby photo of Lily in my arms. That one was in the back. I walked into the guest room, my new room. The boxes Emma had packed sat neatly on the bed. My things, my trophies, my degrees, my ties, everything I had worked for, everything I believed I had done right, was packed and labeled. But the love, the family, already gone. The boardroom was silent as I stood behind the glass podium, hands shaking slightly. I had spent 27 years in that company, Risen from cubicle to corner office, survived mergers, layoffs, even recessions. I had closed million-dollar deals in this very room. But that day, I wasn't here to pitch. "I'm resigning," I said. A few eyebrows rose. A cough from the VP of Finance. Someone dropped a pen, effective immediately. There were murmurs, confused glances. My CEO leaned forward. "John, this is sudden. You're up for COO next quarter. Let's discuss this after the roadshow." "No," I interrupted. "There won't be a roadshow for me. I've spent most of my adult life chasing this title, these perks, the illusion of stability. And somewhere in that chase, I lost the only thing that ever really mattered." A pin could have dropped. I missed my daughter's birthdays. I missed her recitals. I missed her grow up. And now, she doesn't even see me as a father. Just a man who occasionally shows up in photos. Silence again. "I won the wrong game," I said. "And now I'm going to learn how to live outside the scoreboard." I walked out before anyone could respond. I left the plaque on the wall, my keycard on the table. By the time I reached the elevator, someone had already uploaded a clip to social media. That evening, the video went viral. A grizzled executive in a crisp suit, voice cracking as he spoke about losing his daughter. The caption read, "He walked away from millions to walk toward his family." Comments poured in. "This broke me. Finally, a man gets it. Dad of the year." The irony wasn't lost on me. I was being celebrated for quitting, for waking up decades too late. But not everyone clapped. Lily sent me a one-line text the next day. "Don't use me for your redemption arc." That one stung more than any press coverage ever could. I stared at it for a long time, then typed, I'm just trying to finally be someone worth remembering." She didn't reply. So I started over. I applied to be a volunteer driver for a local school shuttle service. Drove second graders and sixth graders to school in a beat-up van that smelled like crayons and juice boxes. I learned their names, played their favorite radio stations. I joined the PTA, not to be seen, but to understand. Sat through meetings about cafeteria menus and bullying policies, took notes, offered to help with setup. I started cooking dinner. At first it was just for me, but then I'd make enough and text Emma, "If you and Lily are hungry." Sometimes they came. Most nights, they didn't. I stopped wearing suits, donated most of them, kept one for emergencies, wore jeans, learned to fold laundry without twisting the sleeves, bought a calendar and marked Lily's school events, not to show up late, but to be early. I left my phone in the other room during meals, took walks instead of checking emails, sat in parks and watched fathers push swings, wondering how many of them would blink and find themselves where I had. 3 weeks later, I knocked on Emma's door. She opened it, arms folded. "What do you want, John?" "I don't want anything," I said. "Just to see how you're doing." She raised an eyebrow. "I've been volunteering, cooking, driving kids to school." She nodded slowly. "Trying to prove something?" "No," I said. "Trying to be someone I can live with." She exhaled. "You think if you show up long enough, we'll come running back?" "No," I said again, softer. "I don't expect anything. I just want to change, whether or not it changes anything else." She looked at me for a long time, then stepped back without inviting me in. "Then do it for real, but not to earn us back. Do it because you finally want to." The door clicked shut gently. I stood there, heart heavy, but somehow steadier than before. That night I cooked again, ate alone, did the dishes, marked Lily's upcoming art show on the calendar. No dramatic reconciliation, no applause, no music swelling in the background. Just me, finally living a life that wasn't about performance. And in some small way, that felt like the beginning. It started with a knock on my apartment door at 7:46 p.m. on a Thursday. I opened it to find Lily standing there, arms crossed, laptop tucked under one elbow. "Hey," she said, voice neutral. "My computer's acting weird. You used to fix stuff like this." I stepped aside, unsure if I should smile or stay quiet. "Sure, come in." She sat at the dining table while I opened the laptop. For the first time in 2 years, the air didn't feel like walking through a minefield. Just slightly uncomfortable silence. "You spill anything on it?" I asked. "No." "Click on weird links?" She rolled her eyes. "Dad, I'm not 7. I froze. "Dad." She had called me Dad, not John, not nothing. Dad. I didn't react out loud, but inside something cracked open like a frozen river under spring sun. "It's probably a battery thing," I said, trying to sound casual. "I'll order a replacement." "Thanks," she replied, eyes still on the screen. I didn't expect her to stay, but she did. For 40 minutes, she told me about a group project that went wrong, a teacher who mispronounced her name, a TikTok trend she hated. I just listened, didn't give advice, didn't steer the conversation. I let her speak and reminded myself, this wasn't about earning her back. This was about earning who I wanted to be. 2 weekends later, she texted me. "Volunteering at the shelter tomorrow. Need an extra pair of hands?" We packed canned goods, sorted winter coats, made awkward small talk at first. But by the 3rd hour, we were joking about someone's ugly reindeer sweater. I laughed until I forgot how long it had been since I laughed with her. Afterward, back at my place, she went to grab a hoodie from my room. I had one drawer filled with her old things. Yearbooks, childhood drawings, school projects I couldn't let go of. I didn't mean to look through her bag. I saw the notebook when she went to the bathroom. Spiral bound, scribbled edges. I shouldn't have opened it, but I did. One page stopped me cold. Maybe he's not pretending anymore. Just one line, no context, but I knew who he was. I closed the notebook and placed it exactly as I found it. She left soon after, said, "Thanks, Dad," and walked out like it wasn't the single most hopeful sentence I'd read in years. Christmas came, cold and crisp. On the 23rd, Emma texted me, "Dinner on the 25th, just dinner, 6 p.m. I stared at the message for several minutes before replying, "I'll bring dessert." I showed up with a chocolate pie, knocked like a guest. Emma opened the door with an apron on, Lily setting the table behind her. We ate slowly, talked about safe topics, joked about bad fruitcake. No one mentioned the last 3 Christmases. After dinner, Lily brought down the box of decorations. "Tree's not gonna dress itself," she said. We pulled out ornaments together. Ones Lily made in kindergarten, glass balls from vacations, the ugly felt star I once cut with scissors too dull. Emma handed me a string of tangled lights. "Some things never change," she said with a smirk. We laughed, real laughter. And for the first time, it didn't feel fragile. It felt earned. Later, while Emma washed dishes and Lily hung the last ornament, I offered to take the trash out. When I came back, Lily was sitting on the couch. She didn't look up when she spoke. "I can forgive you." I stood still. "But that doesn't mean I forget," she added. "Forgiveness isn't about erasing everything. It's about choosing to try again." I nodded slowly. "I don't need perfect," she said. "I need honest. I need you to keep showing up, not because you're trying to win us back, but because you finally get it. I sat beside her. I'm trying, I said. She looked over at me. I know. That's why I'm saying this now. I'm giving you another chance. But don't make me regret it. Twist of the knife, but gently. She wasn't punishing me. She was protecting herself. I understood. We didn't hug. We didn't cry. But when she handed me an ornament and said, "Put this one on the top," I knew something had shifted. Not fixed, but stitched. There's a room at the local community center with mismatched chairs and coffee that tastes like regret. That's where I sit every second Thursday night, surrounded by men who look like I used to, tired, successful, lonely. We talk. Some are fresh from divorce. Others are still pretending things at home are fine. A few are trying, really trying, not to become ghosts in their own families. They call me a mentor. That still feels strange. But I tell them my story, the unvarnished version, about the birthdays I missed, the words my daughter once said, how they broke me, and somehow also saved me. I started a blog a few years back, called it Father Unfiltered, just me, typing into the void at first. But then people found it. Other dads, moms, even teenagers. It turns out, failure, when told honestly, can be more powerful than polished success. One post went viral. The day my daughter erased me. Another. What I saw when I stopped looking at my phone. I don't offer advice, just experiences, failures, apologies, and the slow, clumsy path to something better. Last year, I got an email from TEDx. They'd read the blog, wanted me to speak. Title suggestion: Why I Chose Failure to Save My Family. I was flattered, humbled. Then I looked at the date. June 16th, Lily's birthday. 5 years earlier, I would have flown across the country without blinking. But now we have a tradition. On her birthday, we spend the day together, just us. No phones, no cameras, no plans. We call it Unplugged Day. So I replied with a thank you and a polite no. They offered to reschedule. I declined again. I chose her. That was the entire point, wasn't it? Later, when I told Lily, she laughed. You turned down Ted for me? I've already said all I need to say, I told her. At least to the people who matter. She didn't say anything for a moment. Then, you really are different now. I smiled. Took me long enough. 5 years passed in quiet, steady steps. Emma and I never remarried, but we rebuilt something. Not what we had before. Maybe something better. Honest. Present. We shared holidays, weekend brunches. She even started sending me dog videos she knew I'd laugh at. Lily thrived. She studied psychology, said she wanted to help people understand why they hurt and how to heal. I told her she'd be great at it. She told me I already was. Then came her graduation day. This time I wasn't late. I was early. I found a good parking spot, wore the same navy suit, though it fit a little looser now. I held a bouquet again, this time tulips, her new favorite. Things change. The ceremony was long, but I didn't mind. I watched every speech, every name called, and when they said hers, Lily Walker, my heart thudded like a drum in a parade. She looked radiant, not just in the gown or the cap, but in how solid she stood. Confident. Whole. After the applause, we gathered near the front steps. Families took pictures, friends cried and laughed and held each other. Emma stood beside me, smiling, camera in hand. Then Lily turned to the MC on the podium and said something. The mic squeaked. The crowd quieted. Before we wrap, Lily said, there's one more photo I need. She looked straight at me. Dad, come up here. I froze. People looked around. Come on, she called again, this time softer. Now I want you in every photo. The words hit like a sunrise. I walked up, heart pounding. She grabbed my hand, pulled me beside her. Emma joined on the other side. The photographer counted 1, 2, 3. Click. We smiled, not out of obligation, not for anyone else. We smiled because it was real. Because after all the years, all the damage, all the silence and rebuilding, we were still standing. Together. That photo hangs in my apartment now. Not framed in gold, just tacked gently to the wall above my writing desk. But it means more than any award I ever earned. Because it isn't proof of status. It's proof of presence.